Hey everybody, my name is Dara, and this is Dear Hallmark. This is a space where I nerd and geek out over Hallmark Channel movies and stuff. So, I have brought my trusty emotional support cup again for this one because I'm going to take you on the journey that my heart took with this movie, Journey of My Heart, starring Rhiannon Fish and Darien Martin, that premiered September 4th. So, a little bit about the premise. Rhiannon Fish plays Abby, who is an ologist of birds. And I'm saying that because I couldn't quite get the prefix that she was putting. I didn't know if it was an NPH or M. I wasn't sure what consonants played into the spelling of that. So, out of respect for the profession, I'm just going to say she was an ologist of birds. She was a researcher, a studier, a watcher, an enthusiast. Anything scientifically needed or wanting to do with birds, she was in the mix. So she works for this research journal, I think it is. They all wear lab coats, but they write. That was what was confusing to me. I was like, we work at a wildlife magazine, but we wear lab coats. And then I think, wait, is it a research journal? Are they performing studies while they're there? And so throughout the course of her studies, maybe that's why they wear the coats. But in any event, the journal is called North Star. And so she is tasked with writing this report about the status of the population of eagles within a concentrated area in Alaska. Now, the woman who did an original report concerning the eagle population, her name is Alice Hughes. Abby ends up meeting Alice. Alice gives her blessing to continue the report and do a kind of a 50-year, update as to what's going on with the eagles. And she gets to Alaska and she's met with Eric, who is her guide, played by Darien Martin. And they make this trek to this place called Eagle's Crest in Hidden Canyon. And along the way, she discovers something about herself and about Eric, and she's just changed. Her life is completely changed. Hence the title, Journey of My Heart. Now, allow me to take you on the journey of my heart with this movie. Seeing the preview for it, I said, oh, I'm going to need my breastplate of righteousness for this one, okay? I'm going to need my helmet of salvation and my sword of the Spirit. And so I was ready. And I watched the Hallmarkies podcast interview of Rhiannon Fish and Lucy Guest, and I was excited. I don't like personally being out in nature, but I thoroughly enjoy seeing it, if that makes sense. I partake in the beauty of the grandeur that is natural landscape. So I was very excited for this movie. I was excited to be brought into another culture that is not, if at all, I don't think was ever covered in a Hallmark movie before, which is the culture of the indigenous people of this nation, of America. So I thought that was like a really cool take. And then we got two really cool people. And throughout the course of looking at Rhiannon's filmography, I didn't realize she played lead on one of my favorite Up TV movies, A Love to Remember. I didn't realize that was her. She did amazing in that. So I'm like, bet this one's going to be so good. And it's closing summer nights. And this is coming off of the heels of Sweet Pecan Summer, which I loved to pieces. I just thought it was high key one of my favorites of all of summer from both waves. So I am so hyped, and then Saturday comes and this is like the feature presentation for me. So I gotta work. I'm doing things. I'm like, I just need 9 p.m. to be here. Saturday was mad stressful. And then 9 p.m. comes, and here's the second leg of the journey. I think I need my cup for this. I'll just say it. I think my expectations were too high. I think maybe I put all my eggs in one basket, but to me, it fell flat, in all honesty. Miss Rhiannon, if I could talk to you for a second, you did very well, acting-wise. I felt like you gave character, you gave dynamic, I felt like you were Abby. And the viewer is introduced to Abby in terms of her personality. She comes off, at least to me, as like a know-it-all. Like, she doesn't want to look like she's wrong or that she doesn't know how to do things. So throughout the course of the movie, when she's asked if she's ever been in a canoe before, has she ever like been on a hike, has she climbed mountains, Alice makes a comment, and she's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, ooh, somebody feeling themselves. Hello? So I'm like, okay, that's who we're working with Abby. And then cue Eric, who is, we meet him playing the piano. So already you're like, what matter of man is this? And then he displays more of himself by basically not saying much at all. He is our resident enigma wrapped in a washcloth of mystery that you just want to know who, what, when, where, why, and how. And I was hoping that the stark personality difference between the two of them would add to the chemistry, or that there would be more banter that would develop from it. But again, I didn't feel any of that. The chemistry felt very one-sided. Like, I didn't get much from Eric, or from what Darien brought to the role as Eric. However, there were two scenes, and it was both of the scenes that served as sneak peeks that Hallmark did, where Abby and Eric are sitting next to each other, and she said, "You don't think I'm going to do this? What time is the hike? 6:30. I'll be there. Good. Great. Fine." Like, that whole exchange I thought was great. And even when he was doing the fishing lesson, that was great. But outside of that, I was bored. It hurts. And this is why I'm really trying. I want to choose my words carefully, because the movie, I was really disappointed. I was expecting one thing and got another, and I mulled this over. Like, I made voice notes, and I said, Dara, is this movie as bad as Wedding March 6? I'm like, no. Because then I began to see who could play Eric's role. Like, could there be someone who could have really brought, like, the mystery, the banter, the kind of standoffishness, if you will, and the movie have been successful? I think so. And I think that's why I am reluctant to give it a low score, because I feel like there could be something done that could really make this a good movie. But I really wanted more. Mr. Darien, sir, I wanted more. I did. I wanted more. I felt like I said, I felt like it was a little bit one-sided. And those two scenes, I saw so much potential. I'm like, where was that? And even those two scenes, seeing it before I saw the whole movie, I'm thinking, I thought that was like, keep that same energy, you know? I thought that was going to be the same energy throughout the whole movie, and it wasn't. And don't get me started on the ending. Y'all, oh gosh. I almost threw my laptop. I'm sitting there like, no, I was like, don't you dare. As he comes back, he's like, hey, bird watcher, or whatever he calls her, and she turns around like, and I was so upset. I was so upset. He said that he loved her. I was like, okay, if I could put what this movie did to me in a word picture. So you know how as you're brushing your teeth and you use up the toothpaste, right? And I don't know if there are any of these type of people out there who like you squish or squeeze the tube so that you can get all of it out to come out of the top, right? So imagine that tube of toothpaste is the movie, and so the movie's just going along. And I feel like that last little bit, as everything has transpired already, that last little bit that's at the top that is just like, and then it's over, the romance was left for that last little part. I'm like, the last half hour, all of a sudden, we're calling her beautiful. We making moves. We dancing. We kissing for 15 minutes. Oh, it hurts so bad. Because like I said, like, the difference between this and Wedding March 6 to me is that I see the potential in this. There was no potential with Wedding March 6. I don't think there was no saving it. There was no saving that one. I can see the potential in this. And I think this, like I said, I think it just fell short for me. And that's what kind of made, like, I'm genuinely disappointed. And then where it was placed in the lineup, I'm like, first, like I said last week, I see why they originally ended with Sweet Pecan Summer, because that thing was a hit. If we take the movie as it is, I would air it. I would air it after Wedding March 6, before A Little Daytime Drama. That's where I would air it. Especially because coming off of the light nature of Sweet Pecan Summer to then get into something mad, introspective, and cultural, I feel like like, I don't know. I will say though, welcome Darien Martin to the Hallmark universe. Miss Rhiannon, I want to see more from you, ma'am. I'm so ready for you to be in more Hallmark movies. And even more Up TV movies, too. But, yeah, these are kind of... And this is the thing. Like, I told you, I made voice memos. I was like, I slept on it. And I still feel disappointed. So, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. When the movie was over and I kind of had my little temper tantrum about how disappointed I was, I was like, let me see what the peoples are talking about. So I went on to Hallmark's Facebook page under the latest post of the movie, and people began to mention Chasing Waterfalls. And I was like, maybe because I had already checked out maybe halfway through, so I was just kind of enduring the movie at that point. But I replayed the movie back in my head, and I'm like, the similarities to Chasing Waterfalls it's insane. In that there's a person doing, even though she's not doing a story, she's doing a report. She's taking pictures. There's camping, there's woodlands, there's landscape, there's waterfalls. There's a guide that she falls in love with. She has to promise not to share the location, but she sends it to her friend, who then sends it to someone else because she took a picture of a bear that almost ravaged their campsite. And then her friend sent that picture to another coworker who then posted it, and the picture came with coordinates already attached to it. So when he posted the picture to his website, the longitude and latitude was already posted with the picture, thus giving away the location. But and then the guide got mad because he's like, this is just a career. I'm just like, keep that same energy. That's kind of where I am right now. I'm like, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. And this may be an unpopular opinion because I saw a whole lot of people love the movie. It is what it is. I am planning to do a summer wrap up with Hallmark Happenings podcast. So you will hear my complete thoughts on Summer Nights overall. And I have my fall preview coming out with the Hallmark Heartbeats podcast. So be sure to, if you're not subscribed to those beautiful podcasts, to hear my thoughts on what's coming out for fall and what has occurred over summer. Speaking of fall, the fall harvest, it starts next Saturday with my brother from another, Tyler Hines and Lauren Elena, Roadhouse Romance. I'm going to just save my comments. You guys will hear it for the fall preview. But you guys, what did you think of Journey of My Heart? Do you share my sentiments? What do you feel like with this movie? Did you enjoy it? Were you here for the Native American representation, which I thought was beautiful? I appreciated that, but again, I think I put too much stock and I fell very hard in terms of like what was actually delivered and my expectations. So that is my take on Journey of My Heart. I would love to hear what you guys think. And I will talk to you guys next week for Roadhouse Romance.